Gambino was never a gun, but during the Castellammarese War he fought on the same side as Vito Genovese, Frank Costello, and Luciano. While others were out hunting, Gambino thought things through and whispered instructions. He was by this time an expert at all levels of the bootlegging business. He could distill, distribute, smuggle, and sell. When competition needed to be discouraged, he knew people who could do that. He could advise ship captains on how to evade offshore law enforcement. He knew the roads. He knew where police were to be avoided and where highway patrols needed greasing. As a persuader, he was silent and smiling, but he always got his message across. He knew guys, he explained softly, who weren't as nice. The subtlety of his approach impressed Luciano. Despite his youth, Gambino was fatherly, and he meant that in all of its meanings. He was too valuable to be put in harm's way. Joe the boss, on the other hand, had lived in harm's way for years. Masseria, by the time he was boss, was used to having bullets whiz past his ear. The first attempt on his life came on August 9, 1922, when he was ambushed as he came down the front stoop of his home on 2nd Avenue in the city. 6 shots were fired in drive-by fashion by 2 shooters. All missed, but Masseria's straw hat looked like Swiss cheese. The getaway car ran smack dab into Murphy's Law as, in their attempt to get as far from Masseria as they could as fast as possible, they drove directly into a crowd of striking tailors who'd packed the street in front of a large building called Beethoven Hall at the corner of East 5th and 3rd Avenue. The desperados fired into the crowd to disperse it, and 1 tailor died. The shooting sequence lasted long enough for Masseria to recognize one of his assailants, rival bootlegger Umberto Valenti. Valenti was a snappy dresser who always cut a sharp profile, and Valenti knew it. So perhaps he was relieved a few days later when Masseria invited him to a sit-down in a restaurant at the corner of East 12th Street and 2nd Avenue in the city. "We shall discuss our differences," Masseria said, and Valenti showed up on time. The men ate and ate and ate, and they talked. They had a lot in common. Masseria was out on bail on a murder charge. Valenti knew all about how that felt. He had been arrested for a 1914 murder, Fortunato Lamonte, but was acquitted at trial. When they were finally full, they exited the restaurant together, and 2 Masseria gunmen fired 12 to 15 shots at Valenti, who clawed at his chest and stayed on his feet to the curb, where he leaned on a cab driven by a hack named Zuckerberg. Valenti got his hand on his own gun, but lacked the strength to grip it. The cabbie threw open the door of his taxi, but Valenti collapsed and died on his running board. Masseria's gunmen weren't troubled by collateral damage. In whacking Valenti, they also shot a street cleaner in the throat and an 11-year-old girl, Agnes Eglinger, in the chest.